Welcome in. We're here with PTQ winner Chris Arnold. Travis here, much love. And Chris is in the mastermind and going to be talking to us today about keys to winning a PTQ, sealed PTQ. He won his 11th attempt, which is pretty good. First attempt for sealed. So first of all, this is a waypoint for you, which we're going to talk about, and for those of you listening who are trying to get to the next step, you haven't won a PTQ yet, or you have but you still want to learn something. Um, yeah. So first of all, what is it like to win a PTQ?
I mean, it's a great feeling. It's like just like that mini stepping stone. It feels great, but at the same time, at the end of the day, you just kind of realize like, hey, this is just the beginning of the bigger picture.
Mhm.
So you got to keep that in mind. But I mean, take the victory for what it is, for sure.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, obviously the system has changed. Um, you have to top four in RPTQ. Um, so that makes it difficult, but Um, so what's interesting is the difference in the old and the new format. I feel it's about the same, really. You know, you won your 11th here. Um, it took me 20, maybe 30, and I know some players took 100 attempts, which is insanity if you think about it. But, in Seattle we had 200, 250 player PTQs, one player winning. So I think the new system is cool, and our PTQs are cool because when you have 60 winners in the room or something like that, um, it's uh, it's a cool thing. So you won a sealed PTQ. So what was that like? I know a lot of people think, oh, okay, sealed is kind of random, or do you feel that way?
Yeah, sealed is very interesting. Like, I like it because every sealed is going to be different. It's never
Mhm.
cut and dry. You're not going to have this
Mhm.
75 deck, card deck list that you
Mhm.
just copy and paste and play and learn. It's always going to be different, and I think a lot of fun is actually just figuring out the strategy and putting it together.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know, the whole synergies based on sets like
Mhm.
BFC or SOI or anything older. Um, it's all different. BFC was a little bit slower unless you had like allies or some of like the landfall abilities.
Mhm.
SOI can be super aggressive
Uh
or it can
huh.
be long and drawn out. So
Uh-huh. So, how do you feel? Sealed is different from draft, and what a lot of people don't realize in sealed is it's more likely to want to play an extra land and a little bit of a higher curve and maybe draw an extra card. Is that something that you took advantage of? I mean, not every format is going to be that way, but sometimes, right?
yeah, sometimes. Um, it's it's a lot less streamlined than
Mm-hmm.
draft. Obviously, you're not just picking colors and just going off that way and building a curve. This like what you have is what you have. So you have to make those judgments. And sometimes, yeah, playing extra land is a necessary evil.
Mm-hmm.
Drawing the extra card.
Mm-hmm.
My deck, particularly this past time, it was black red, so it was more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So I never wanted to be on the draw,
Mm-hmm.
but there were a couple people there that were the slower decks, and they wanted the card advantage, so
Mm-hmm.
they're opting for the draw.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, it was working.
Uh-huh.
So
How do you feel when you're paired against one of those decks? If they want to go second, but you just have a nice aggro curve. Did you?
I love it.
Yeah, you win some matches that way.
Couple.
hmm
Uh,
So, um, so you get to the d did you end up intentionally drawing in the last round?
actually, the last round, I offered my opponent the ID,
Mm-hmm.
and he wanted to play for seeding,
Mm-hmm.
and like that's fine too.
Mm-hmm.
I checked and did some quick math, and even if he won, I'd still be in like top three.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up losing that.
Mm-hmm.
due to like missing one land drop.
Mhm.
But his deck was solid. He was a good player. But I went from
Mhm.
second seeding to third.
Mhm.
Um,
Interesting. Okay, so I want to talk generally about sealed if possible. Obviously, this exact, some of these cards are still going to be legal. This exact format of sealed is not going to be exactly relevant. So I'm curious, even for an aggro deck, a PTQ top 8 aggro deck, are you are you rocking mana sinks? Are you looking for cards in your pool that, I want to aggro, but if I get stopped, I want to be able to sink my mana into magnifying glass or anything like that?
yeah, there's the thing with aggro decks, especially in limited, if you build it too aggro, if somehow like you can't get that train rolling and it gets to that mid to late game and well, you're just stuck, you want to have that ability to potentially go long game.
Mhm.
For me, I had Westvale Abbey, and that's a great mana sink.
Yeah, that's a great mana sink.
But in any format, if you're the aggressive deck, yeah,
Yeah.
like Valkut Invoker for BFZ, great
Mhm.
card, mana
Which
sink,
card?
but the Valkut Invoker.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, yeah.
Um,
8 drops. Yeah, I mean, uh, Wizards is smart. They put these in every format. They're available. There's something you should throw in your deck. It looks kind of weak to pay 8 mana for a small effect sometimes, but not everything goes according to plan. I mean, the key is, right, if you want to consistently top 8 or consistently win tournaments, it really helps to have to control your destiny. You have some control over flood and screw, right? And one of the ways you
yeah,
control flood is if you put cards in your deck that give you something to do with 8 mana, then it's very hard to get flooded.
yeah. One of my philosophies, especially that, is you always want to try to be doing something with your
Mhm.
mana, whether it's your turn or your opponent's turn.
Mhm.
Um, it just gives you a lot more advantage, a lot more play.
Mhm.
And so, like, you'll take random cards
Mhm.
that might not be super great
Mhm.
right away, but late game, that little
Uh
effect of
huh.
getting like +3/+3 for a creature or give
Uh huh.
something can just be hugely relevant.
Yeah. So always look for those, especially in sealed, because there's so little synergy that things trade off, and it comes to if you have 3 extra lands, you need to have something to make up for that. Um. So okay. So we're to the top 8. Is that a timed draft? How does that work?
What for the draft?
Yeah, like a judge with a clock. Is that a thing?
He didn't
Mhm.
clock us at all.
Mhm.
He was there watching it.
Uh
It
huh.
actually went
Uh huh.
really at a smooth pace. Like
Uh
really
huh.
taking their time, but
Okay. By the way, for those of you guys listening, if you ever make it to a Grand Prix Day 2 or a Grand Prix Top 8 or a Pro Tour draft, there's a judge who's like, you have 60 seconds. Okay, now you have 15 seconds, draft past the pack. And some people find that really distracting. So one thing you can do to prepare for it is, um, for one, practice timing. Um, like I mean, there's things you can do to simulate it on Magic Online with the clock. Also, I've never seen anyone do this, but you can like tape over the screen of the cards because you're not looking at the cards during the draft, right?
correct.
Yeah, not everyone is used to that if you're preparing for Magic Online. And can you talk a little bit about that? Because there's definitely a difference to drafting where you can consult with what you've already picked and when you can't.
Yeah, it is. It's a very different experience. I've been in a bunch of high level drafts now where you can't, check over your stuff, check your curve, know
Uh
what you
huh.
need to build. Um, one of the ways I do is like obviously you're gonna remember your color for most parts,
Mhm.
and you just kind of want to build up that. Use the time in between packs, like
Mhm.
get your curve, figure out what you're lacking. If you need more removal, if you need more creatures, if you
Mhm.
need a couple more bomb cards,
Mhm.
mana sink cards, whatever. Like you just need to make that mental note
Mhm.
and then start
Yes.
building towards that.
Uh-huh. Definitely I'll get that. Like, okay, especially between packs when you do get to check, first thing I'll do is cost sort. And yeah, it will be, okay, I really need a removal spell, or I will take a bomb over anything, or, I mean, a lot of the time it's, oh well, pack 2, I really need to look for 3 drops, or pack 3, if I can just get 3 drops, I'll be set, or something like that. Um, but, you can't check for that, so you kind of need to keep it in mind. And the hardest thing about that is it gets late in the day and short-term memory starts to go. So um, it seems to me that if you can stay sharp, you have such an advantage.
Yeah, it's just being aware,
Mhm.
being able to being able to balance what you're taking and remembering
Mhm.
like what kind of creatures or spells you're taking while you're trying to read the pack, see what your opponent's doing, try to
Mhm.
set up um, your pick for the turn, whether it's going to be this removal spell or whatever, and then like, will this
Mhm.
be just slam
Mhm.
dunk? Like, you got to have a lot of balance there,
Mhm.
and it's going to take time. It's not something that just happens
Mhm.
overnight.
Mhm. Uh-huh. And you know what I find interesting about higher stakes drafts, and by the way, for those of you listening, I've done one Grand Prix top 8 draft, and I've done how many? I don't know, a dozen, half dozen Pro Tour drafts. I went 5-1 in a draft portion of the Pro Tour, and I've gone 4-2 at draft of the Pro Tour. I know most people think of me as like a casual constructed player, but that's just because it's what I have more fun with. But what I've found from these high stakes drafts is not only are people seem to be affected by not looking at their cards, but compared to Magic Online or low stakes drafts, people seem to be crazy inflexible. People say, okay, black red is the best archetype. I'm going to draft black red. Green's the worst color. I'm not going to touch green. So my strategy a lot has just been draft what's open, and I found that there's some of the I had a PTQ draft where I was the only green drafter at the table out of 8 drafters. Like, how does that even happen? I've had similar for red, and it just type of things that will never happen in lower stakes drafts seem to happen at the high stakes draft tables. It's Did you notice anything like that? And it doesn't happen every time, but did you notice anything like that in
I, I
yours?
have I have
Mhm.
noticed stuff like that. You'll get to like these high end drafts where like it's a top eight or something,
Mhm.
and I'm playing to win, so like I'm okay with occasionally passing like some
Mhm.
huge money card, especially if it's like late pack
Mhm.
two coming to me or like pack three.
Mhm.
If I'm not in those colors, like it hurts. Like I don't want to have to pass like a Nahiri or something like
Uh
that,
huh.
but not my colors. It's not my colors. I'm not gonna take that over win essentially. And I
Uh
find a
huh.
lot of people where they'll see this card like something huge, take that and completely miss the removal spell or bomb creature that can actually go into their deck.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. It's like the goal is to play on the Pro Tour, and that is worth so much more than $30, right?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And uh, that's like what Tarmelgate.
I was thinking about that.
Everybody,
That's different. I mean, foil Goyf is extreme. It's already a GP top 8, so you're queued for the next one. And it's just funny, like, um, it's that's a bit extreme, but um, I mean, yeah. I mean, There's
Not gonna lie, I
exceptions.
probably would have taken the foil glyph too, but
Yes.
in cases like everything else, it's like it's okay to pass that stuff if it's not gonna
Mhm.
benefit you in any way. I highly suggest like just let it go,
Yeah.
just ship it. Take what you need to win to make yourself be put into the best situation, best position that
Uh-huh.
you can. Make your deck the best.
Yes. Definitely. Okay, so the draft happens, and then how was your top eight?
Oh, I after drafting, I personally thought my deck was subpar.
Mhm. Interesting.
I wasn't too excited about it. Let's just say
Mhm.
that. I didn't feel like I was getting the best
Mhm.
selection in value for creatures or removal.
Mhm.
Um, but it turns out no one really was. Like the draft is all over the place. It
Mhm.
was really
Uh-huh.
really weird
So you're saying there were
in what.
bad decks, perhaps?
Yeah, I
Hmm.
would say like everybody's deck. There really wasn't any that I saw that were
Uh-huh.
just like this guy had an amazing draft. They were all from
Uh-huh.
everybody's residence. So it was
Mhm.
kind of a letdown. No one was really too enthused about it.
Mhm.
Um,
Sometimes you have a weak table.
yeah. But another thing I have is you're gonna draft what's in front of you. You can best
Mhm.
draft the best that's given to you.
Mhm.
In the end, your skill is what's playing. Um,
Uh-huh.
you're playing with commons and uncommons. Like
Uh-huh.
you have to beat your opponent's commons and uncommons, and occasionally rare or mythic.
Uh-huh.
You're not gonna get all the time like bomb after bomb, like in
Uh-huh.
just the deck builds itself. So you got to really rely on your knowledge and skill, being able to be patient with like a
Mhm.
removal spell or a creature, and just take advantage of the situation.
Yes. So you say there was a weak table, you didn't love your deck, but turns out perhaps no one did. And that could be because maybe people were hate drafting. So what's interesting, you see that in Nahiri sometimes, and then it's worth money, and you convince yourself you're taking it because you want to hate draft. So hate drafting can be pretty detrimental because, for one, you need to beat seven players, not one player. So you need the best deck for you. Making one player's deck worse, a zero sum with six people not getting subtracted is super bad. And then also, signaling is somewhat important. You want people to move into the open colors that are not yours. So especially in pack 1, like late in pack 1, picks 9, 10, 11, if you are pretty certain you're not moving into a color, then don't take cards of that color because you want the person next to you, stay out of each other's ways. You can meet in the finals. Um, Now, I think that a lot of people overdo this. Hate drafting makes a lot more sense in like a 3-on-3, six-player draft. And it could be that's what happened in your top eight.
Very possibly. I know there's some late picks that were coming around that weren't particularly my color.
Uh-huh.
That I really felt were should have been like within the first 5, 6 picks.
Mhm.
So it was like I said, it was really really awkward to read. Um, so like I wasn't able really to tell exactly what like a couple people on the first and third pack were on
Mhm.
my right. Second pack was easy to read those opponents,
Mhm.
but it is what it is.
Mhm. Okay, so top eight matches. Anything interesting
Um,
happen?
round round one, I found out why my deck was a little lackluster.
Uh-huh.
My opponent was essentially playing the mirror,
Uh-huh. I
so
see.
um, a lot of the same cards were there,
Mhm.
and same color scheme,
Mhm.
except he was splashing a little bit, which is weird because at the end of the match, I asked him if he got any of the cool fixers.
Mhm.
He just threw in a couple extra basics and
Mhm.
splashed. which is fine. It's not the best, and I think it might have made his deck weaker.
I generally will not do that, even if it's for a bomb.
Yeah. Like the only way I really splash for like that extra color for like one or two cards is if I'm gonna have like a couple mana fixing sources,
Mhm.
like dual lands or guys that
Mhm.
search up. Um,
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not worth diluting your deck. It literally like just pushes your power level from what could be like say an eight
Uh-huh.
or a nine down to like a five or a
Definitely.
six.
I mean, it's worth noting there's some exceptions, but generally I'm with you. Like in order to win a top 8 draft, you need a consistent deck, right? You need to
Mhm.
play. On the other hand, if you feel that your deck is like so bad, maybe you need to get a little bit lucky to win. And if you can throw in a bomb and just hit your mana. I mean, I have seen train wreck drafts where people play like a 6/6/5 mana base, which normally you would never ever do. But
No.
but just playing a weak two color deck was not going to win, and the three color deck ends up working out well enough to win the tournament. So it's kind of
Yeah,
a
I mean,
power consistency trade off.
there's always going to be that RNG involved when it comes to that. Anyways, it's not the most ideal, but like you said, sometimes you got to dig deep. If your deck's that bad, like you're going to need luck regardless. So you may
Mhm.
as well, have luck and try to win.
Mhm.
Not that I suggest it. It could end really
Well,
bad and leave a bad taste.
I
But
mean,
yeah, you got to do what you got to do.
yeah. Well, the way to get luck and skill and victory, shout out to LSV, is to just take a lot of attempts. I mean, maybe you got lucky in this one. Well, you played 11. You're gonna get lucky in one of those, one or two of those, if you, right? I mean, if you sustain your effort, it becomes inevitable because other people are giving up, or I mean, it's possible that you play in 100 and never qualify, and that sucks for those people, but that is pretty rare.
Yeah, it's doing these like the first couple. I mean, I top eighted and
Mhm.
unfortunate in pairings. Face matchups that weren't particularly good for me, but those are constructed.
Mhm.
But you just got to keep going. You gotta the more chances you take gives you like higher possibilities of
Mhm.
winning. Like if you only go play one and you don't top eight, and say you don't want to play the rest, I mean you're just making it bad for yourself. You
Mhm.
always want to keep giving yourself that chance. Eventually, I
Mhm.
mean, with the right luck and matching, getting um, those matchups that are favorable. Um, it's just going to help you out in the long run,
Mhm.
and you learn a lot.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Okay, so you're on to the semis.
Mm-hmm.
Are
Um,
nerves are nerves in play at all at this point for anyone? For you?
um, not particularly for me. Not really. Like I've been getting myself worked up at past tournaments, and I
Mhm.
just kind of adapted this mantra, like one game at a time. Always think of it as your record is 0-0. Like you just started the match,
Mhm.
started the tournament,
Mhm.
and it takes a lot less pressure, a lot of the pressure off of you. And ever since I really started that philosophy, I've
Mhm.
been doing very well.
Ooh,
Starting
I
out.
that's a great point. I agree. And that's not just for Magic, but in sports. You constantly hear that from pro athletes. Just we're gonna focus and win the next one. For me, that really helped. In one, I can remember in particular, I started off a Grand Prix at 1-2, which is not. This is when you needed 7-2 to make day two. So I needed to win six in a row. And my second loss, I just played insanely bad. Like lost Living End versus Bogles, which is, you know, one of the easiest matchups. And
You know,
I just kept saying, win the next one, win the next one, win the next one. And I ended up winning six in a row, and then eight in a row, and nine in a row, or something like that. and ended up losing against a couple people who finished in the top 8. And it's like, um, if I had been, if I had fixated on winning 6 in a row, that might have. It just seems impossible. But if you just make it small and manageable, it
Yeah,
makes it easier.
yeah, absolutely. Like it can be daunting when you go into the like a GP and you see this room full of thousands of players and you have no buys or
Mhm.
whatever, and you're just like that amount of pressure can take its toll. Like
Mhm.
you start overthinking, and
Mhm.
that can be detrimental.
Uh huh.
Like just play your game. It's one
Uh huh.
game. Figure out how to beat
Uh huh.
this or how to beat your matchup. Don't focus on the future where it's not here yet. You don't know
Mhm.
what you're playing. So just one game at a time, and yeah, it's great. Like don't sweat the future. Worry about the now.
Yes.
And it kept me calm. It kept me level-headed, and I don't feel I misplayed at all
Uh huh.
in any of my games because of that thought process.
And by the way, one of the ways to deal with thousands of people, 1,000 or 2 or 3,000 people in a Grand Prix, like how do you deal with this? For me, what I've noticed is if you go around and ask the room, what Pro Tour does this qualify? Where is it? And you disqualify everyone who doesn't know. Because if they know, they're not really planning to win. They didn't come in preparing to win. It's not actually a goal of them. What you find is like 1 in 10 people know. So it's like the field shrinks tiny, and that's really helped me do well in Grand Prix. Is like I figure it's not a field of 2,000. There's only 200 people here who are actually have really prepared for this. So like, can I top 8 a 200-person event? Sure. It's not even necessarily that hard. So I recommend doing that. It's so interesting seeing um, how few people seem to know like what their like what the Pro Tour is. Okay, so um, final match.
Final match. I got to watch my one of my friends, actually the guy that I went there with. He was in the other semi match against
Mhm.
my opponents, and so I got to see what's going on there. And he was like a blue-white
Mhm.
blue tempo deck. Like he had all the bounce spells,
Mhm.
all the tempo spells,
Mhm.
and like just some um, I don't know, dirly white creatures that
Mhm.
would just sit there and just incremental damage you. So, and I'm playing green red werewolves, so for me, like him having all these instant speed cards, I thought it might be hard for my werewolves to flip. Him being able to like just bounce a flipped werewolf,
Mhm.
like just taking any sort of advantage that I had.
Mhm.
I thought that was going to be out. That one was a little daunting. But I had confidence in my play skill.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let's see how it goes. And I
Mhm.
was able to um, do some cool tricks
Mhm.
that I'm pretty sure he wasn't really expecting. Like he didn't play around any of that stuff, and I was able just to pull it into the long game and outvalue him.
Mhm. Interesting. So you ended up winning a long game, or was it a 3-game match?
It's a very long
Uh
game.
huh.
I think our finals match took like an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, it went to 3 games. Game two, he had like this crazy engine going on, and I was not coming back from that advantage.
Mhm.
But he showed me what he was siding in and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So I mean I used the time to my advantage. Like
Mhm.
I wasn't tired. I wasn't fatigued. I wasn't mentally shot.
Mhm.
So I just like keep showing me like I know what to play around. And
Mhm.
he showed me some sideboard cards, and that became relevant.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, you make a good point with know what to play around. I mean, what
Hmm.
I find is, man, if you don't know the tricks of the format, it's so hard, especially in the late game. I mean, if I just jump into a draft format and I don't know how it works, I play against anyone totally amateur who knows the format. I'm at a huge disadvantage because its skill tends to be pretty specific in draft formats. Like, if you know the blue bounce spell, you know the white combat spell, you know the green pump spell, you know the red burn spell. You don't really have to think about it. But man, when you're in those situations where it's what could the opponent have right now? I don't even know what cards are in the set. It's just it's hard to win. So I mean, one of the
That's
things is
actually. Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
Well, I was gonna just finish that by saying, if you have to, generally for a limited format, the first question I will ask, the first question I'll try to have answered is what are the most important tricks to play around?
What I was gonna say is like one of the things I do to prepare, especially for any sort of limited event of this caliber, is
Mhm.
like I will reread the spoiler. Like it's quick to
Mhm.
go through, and um, like the powerful cards will generally pop up in front of
Mhm.
you, uh, and get just refresh on what's in this set. Because like you said, last thing you want to do is come into it where you're like, well, I don't even know what cards are here, and just
Mhm.
you're going to take more time to read them while making your deck too. So
Mhm.
like, just let's avoid that and like
Mhm.
just do a quick look over it. It won't take very long. Read your cards, kind of get a feel of what's powerful, what's not.
Mhm.
Another suggestion I can always say too is definitely read the card reviews.
Mhm.
There's plenty of well-named
Mhm.
players that are great
Yeah.
that they give ratings for. I mean, that's free
Yes.
information. Take it.
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, if I'll play in a limited tournament, it's like I will I will read the I will read those articles as one of the first things. And then ideally, if it's a Grand Prix, Friday night, if I can talk to the pros there, chat them up, and just ask one question. What are the key? If you had to tweet the keys of the format, what would they be? And I think it doesn't matter who you are necessarily. People will answer that. So a pro's not going to say, "Sorry, can't help." It's a field of 3,000. There's not. So also that's also something I would recommend is like, man, if you don't necessarily need to play a million matches of the format. You need to figure out some specific information, and you can get a lot of that through articles and through just asking questions to the right people.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you want a PTQ,
Yep.
and now there's an RPTQ. Do you know what the date is for that?
It's the weekend before GP Indy. So I want to say the 22nd of
Mm.
August. I don't.
Okay. So is that standard?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got a new set. And when is the rotation? It's right around then, right?
Rotation come is gonna happen in October.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's the what we have now plus this new set. So, and all the cards are out. So, yeah, we're not gonna get into standard so much. But what's the deck you like?
Well, just based off of what I've been seeing for spoilers,
Mhm.
I really feel that the deck that's going to get the biggest push is probably Bant Humans. I
Mhm.
mean, you got Thalia to lock down like the token
Mhm.
strategies. Um,
Hmm.
you've got the new Tameo to
Mhm.
help break those
Mhm.
stalemates, get some card advantage going, and
Mhm.
I just think it's and with the more addition of good humans.
Uh
I
huh.
just think humans is going to be where I'm going to be playing. But who knows? The Pro Tour is in like what 3 weeks,
Yeah,
so we'll
and
have
I
to
mean we'll
really
get a head
see.
head start because we have Pro Tour players in there. We're working on it. So, We'll not talk too much about that, but we'll be working on it, and hopefully we can get you into that top four. And
Hoping.
if not, hopefully it doesn't take another 10 tries. You just win the next one. So, um,
100%.
yeah, thanks so much. Do you have like a MTG Twitter or anything like that, or any
Um,
Magic social
I
media?
do not have I do not have a Twitter page for Magic. I
Mhm.
just post all my stuff on Facebook.
Mhm.
Um,
Do you want
Nothing
people to
really
add you?
specific. Yeah, for by all means.
Uh-huh.
Chris Arnold,
Is it
pretty
Chris?
easy.
Is it Christopher Arnold?
Yes,
By
yes,
the
it
way,
is.
there's another Christopher Arnold who is a Magic player, and I tried to add him to the mastermind instead at first, and it's like, wait a minute, that's not the right one. So,
I
um,
was at a couple tournaments where like
mhm,
him and I were both in the room, and like it was really weird. Like there were a couple times when we went to each other's tables and like, wait a
uh-huh,
minute, we're not supposed to be here.
yeah,
Like like I was doing particularly well. He wasn't doing the worst, but it was really weird. Like I got down paired by like two, like I'm X1.
mhm,
But that was a little awkward.
that's super
Um,
funny.
but
Awesome. Okay, well, I think that's it for those of you listening. I hope you found this useful. Got a little some edge from this. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Those of you interested in being part of the mastermind, there should be a link in the description or on screen. And give it a thumbs up if you learned something. And thank you, Chris, for coming on. And I'm excited for what will come next.
awesome. Thank you.